A woman asks her maid if that would work and she says yes. The maid then starts putting lumps in the woman's bra and the woman complains about the maid's delay. She said that he was going to be late for his wedding and that if she had known the maid would be late, she would have asked someone else. The maid then finishes what she was doing and the woman calls her useless. A man then asks if the woman liked the makeup he had done, because he needed to leave. He says that even if the woman didn't like it, he needed to be paid. The woman then says that he was the only thing she had gotten in the last hour. He then said he didn't care and he wanted his money so he could leave and serve other customers. The woman then asks, "What is the maid still doing there?" tells her to go get the money. Later, the maid comes back and says that she just found that money. She then said that was enough and hands it to the man. He said that money would not be enough to pay for his work. The woman then says that the man had to understand something. She says that what he had done, she could do it herself with the help of tutorials on the internet. She said that the man's work had already gone bad and that he deserved less than what she had paid him. He then asks why the woman didn't do it alone. She said that the reason was that she was trying to help those in need, but that she ended up being disappointed in him. The man said that he didn't need the woman's charity and what he needed was her money, because the work he had done had turned out very well. The woman then says that the man was only trying to charge so much as he knew she was going to marry the richest man in the country and probably the richest man in the world. The man said that she was going to marry the richest man in the world and was still trying to pay her less for her work. She then said that since the man wanted to be paid for his work, she would do it. She then delivers a cream, throws it on the man's face and says that now his work was paid. The woman then leaves and the maid tries to help the man. Worried, she says she didn't know how the woman had the courage to do that to him. The man said he was just trying to do his job and the woman had humiliated him. The maid then tells the man not to worry about that kind of thing. She then tells the man to get his things and leave. He said that he would not leave until he received payment for his work. The maid then says that that family's money was very dirty and tells the man not to mess with them. The man then says that he doesn't care about that and says he won't leave until he gets paid. The maid says that the man would end up getting a lot of trouble with that family. He said he didn't care about that and says he needs the maid's help. She said she couldn't help him as it would jeopardize her job. The man then again asks the woman for help and says that he had noticed how the woman treated her. He said the maid would win by helping him. She then says she would help him and asks if he had any plans. He then says that he would tell his plan to the maid. Later, the woman was talking on the phone how anxious she was, but at that moment, the maid appears. The woman then says that if she looked at the maid, she would be fired. The maid then says that the guests have arrived and the woman tells her to go away. She then goes back to talking on the phone and says she hated it all. She said she couldn't take her maid anymore. At that moment, someone knocks on the fourth and the woman yells at her to go away. The woman's fiancé then says it was him. The woman then said that the man could not see her, as that would be bad luck. He then asks the woman to open the door, something he wanted to see her. She tells the man that he couldn't see her in a wedding dress, as that would bring bad luck to her marriage. He then asks why she was taking so long. The woman says that the man knew that all the preparations she needed to make would take the entire day. The man says that all the guests have already arrived and tells the woman not to take any longer to come down. The woman then says that she was almost finished getting ready. The man gets very angry about that and says that if the woman made him feel ashamed in front of his candidates, she would pay him dearly. The woman then goes to her bed and sits down. She takes her cell phone and says that she was very hungry, but that there was nothing to eat in that place. She then remembers that her fridge had a cake. She then sees the maid and asks what she was doing there. She asks if the maid was watching her. She then asks if the maid hasn't shown the man the way out yet. She said no, but that she was going to do it. The woman said that if the man was thinking he would make more money, he was wrong. She says that he had already received more than he deserved. The man then tells the woman that as long as he didn't get what he deserved, he wouldn't leave. The woman says the man would leave and tells the maid to show him the way out. She tells the maid to lock the door so the man cannot enter. The man said he was waiting for someone brave enough to get him out. He said he would only leave with your money. The woman says he would have to wait a long time as he would not receive any money. The man, then he gets very angry with the woman, said that she would pay him what he deserved. The maid tells him not to be mad about it and that their plan would work. He said he was almost giving up hope, but now he was sure it would work. The woman then arrives in the kitchen and goes to her fridge. She then opens the fridge door and takes out a cake. She is very happy and says she was very hungry. She said that cake looked really good and that she was going to eat it. Because she was very nervous, when the woman was going to eat a piece of cake, she ends up dropping the cake on her. She then said she was too dirty to get married and said she needed to get ready again. At that moment, the two appear in front of the woman and she asks what they were doing there. The man then says that he needed to redeem himself with the woman, as he had charged too much for makeup. He then said he wanted to redo it. She says that the man had charged a lot and says that he needed to get ready again. The man then tells the woman that he had a proposition for her. She said she didn't have time to talk to him as this was her wedding and she needed to get ready again. He then says that that was his proposal. He says he wanted to do a touch-up on her makeup. She said she wouldn't pay the man anything else and that if he wanted to do it, it would be free. He said he wouldn't charge the woman anything and that she could consider it a freebie. She then tells a man to hurry up and the two go upstairs to the woman's room. Later, the woman was telling the man that he was taking too long and that she needed to go to her wedding. He told her to take it easy and that he was almost done. He says that the woman would look very beautiful with her new makeup. When he's done, the woman asks to see herself in a mirror, but he says he didn't have one with him. She said she wanted to see the result and the man tells the woman to ask the maid to get a mirror. She then starts yelling at her maid and tells her to hurry up. She then gets mad and says she hated it when she called out to her maid and she didn't answer. She begins to walk through the halls looking for her maid, but does not find her. She goes screaming through the halls looking for the maid and calling her useless. She then arrives at the backyard of her house and at that moment, someone starts throwing water at her. She then gets furious and asks what was going on. The maid then hands her the mirror and she calls out asking where she was. When the woman sees what the man had done to her, she screams in despair. She then asks what the man had done to her. The man then calmly goes up to the woman and asks if she called him. She asks what he had done to her and said she was late for her wedding. The man said that the woman had said that she knew how to do it because of the internet, so she could do it herself. The woman then desperately asks for the two's help. The man then says that unfortunately he couldn't help her as he had more customers to attend to. She asks the man to help her and that she would pay him double what he asked. The man then says that he would need the woman to pay him for the makeup he had done before and the one he was going to do now. The woman then asks her maid to get the money and she said she wouldn't. She then becomes enraged and goes to get the money. The two celebrate, as the plan had been a success. The woman then returns with money and hands it to the man. At this moment, the groom appears and asks what happened to the woman. The woman says that the man had done it. The man said he had told the woman not to be late as he didn't want to keep his guests waiting. The woman said that she knew that, but that the man would fix her makeup soon and that it would be quick. He then says he had other customers to attend to and leaves. The woman then tries to run after a man, but cannot catch up with him. The woman cries and wonders what she was going to do now. The groom says that he didn't know what the woman was going to do, but that it was over between the two of them and that she was never going to be part of his family. The woman then cries and says her life was ruined.